Hey guys, it's your average gamer here, and today I'm going to be hopefully giving you some insight on which nation you want to play as in War Thunder. Currently there's only planes in the game, but you might want to consider also in the future the tanks and the ships. So I'm just going to be talking about planes today though, because that's all that's currently playable in the game. So for America, you're going to find that you have lots of great ground attack airplanes as well as bombers. So basically the B-25 is definitely the greatest bomber in the lower tiers because of the 50 cal turrets. Those can just shred whatever comes behind you. The A-20G is the same thing, TBF. Yeah, these all have at least one 50 cal turret that will watch your back. They also carry decent loads considering how low tier they are. The B-17 is just awesome. It's definitely the best bomber in the game, well, other than maybe the Japanese G8, but we'll talk about that later. Their fighters are kind of bad, to be honest. They're not bad because of how they fly, but they're bad because they only have 12.7mm 50 cal guns, which most people would argue that's good enough, but they don't really have any cannons, which is a problem, especially when you're attacking bombers. You'll have a very hard time taking down bombers with just 50 cals. I haven't unlocked any of their jets, but the jets are actually the greatest in the game. The F-86 Sabres are the fastest, I believe, as well as probably the most maneuverable. Yeah, so is the F-9. The F-9F is also really good. The Germans have a pretty well stacked lineup. Their bombers are pretty bad, but that's about it. Everything else is good. The Bf-109 outperforms a lot of other planes, especially in the lower tiers. Like in tier 3, the Bf-109, F, and the G2 can just destroy anything they come across, as well as the Focke-Wulfs are also very good. Yeah, dive bombers, mostly the Stuka is mostly just for fun. It's a pretty bad plane. It's pretty slow and it carries a mediocre load. Bf-110 is just awesome. The Dorniers are kind of bad in terms of maneuverability, but they've got great armaments. So does the Me-410. The Germans have jets from actually the Russians and the Americans in their lineup as well. As you can see here, there's a CL-13A Sabre, which is essentially this Sabre, except it's a little bit better, I believe. So this is actually the best jet in the whole game for sure. They also got a MiG, which is a Russian plane. And the Me-262s are kind of bad in terms of maneuverability and speed. Well, the C-1A is not that bad because it has a rocket, but they make up for it with their 30mm cannons, which are just pure destruction. The later tier Bf-109s kind of start to be at a disadvantage because without them being upgraded, you only have one cannon. Even though that one cannon is actually 30mm. You'll find it pretty difficult to compete with other planes like F-8Fs who just have rapid fire 50 cals. They'll just shred you before you can squeeze off some shots on them. Me-163, rocket powered plane. Low fuel but 50 or 30mm cannons, and it's got amazing speed. So. Russians, jets are very good. The only ones that are rivaling them are the American jets. Yaks, I absolutely adore. They either have derp cannons, or they have a good amount of 20 millimeters, which also the Russian 12.7 millimeter guns are. I just find that they set things on fire very quickly, which is pretty good. Lavochkins, I don't know, they're okay, I guess. I find that 20 millimeter, just having 20 millimeter cannons is bad because they're not always the most accurate. At least with the Yaks, you have a 12.7 millimeter to just shred up your target a little bit. Yeah, the M82 is pretty good. MiGs, this lower tier MiG is good. Russian bombers are pretty mediocre until you get the Tupolevs and the Yurs. Yurs can base bomb incredibly well, and Tupolevs have great armaments, offensive armaments. Yeah, and jets are just, they're good. The Brits are pretty well stacked. Spitfires, I have yet to play a Spitfire that actually does not suck in terms of maneuverability. These can turn quick, but once you do maybe a 360 turn, your airspeed is so low that you're just going to stall out. And they have trouble retaining energy, they dive really bad, they climb really bad. I guess they have a decent armament, but like 120 20mm rounds is pretty bad compared to the BF-109 with the 3 20mm at the same tier, and it has more ammo for them, so you'll find that BF-109 is probably better than Spitfires at tier. What's it called? Tier 3. Tempest, Typhoon, Hurricane, these are all great planes. Tempest, one of my favorites. Yeah, you'll have no problem playing with these. These are good, even though they have only 7.7s. You have 12 of them, so you'll do some pretty good damage with that. Bow fighters, they're all pretty good until tier 3. Then they start kind of dropping off a bit. Mosquito, pretty good, but when you get to tier 4, you're going to be getting outturned a lot by other planes. Wellington, decent bomb load, however, it only has 7.7 millimeters, so you're not very good at defending yourself. Lancaster, same goes with the Lancaster. Great bomb load, not so good defenses. And also their speed is not the best. The American bombers can definitely outclimb and outspeed them. Same with Russian. Basically any bomber is better than the British ones in terms of defense and speed. The Japanese lineup, you'll start off slow because their 7.7 guns are incredibly bad. Here they are. 7.7, it's like blowing kisses. It's terrible. It doesn't do anything. But once you get into the 20mm equipped planes, you'll find that you're just destroying, especially in the lower tiers. Like, nobody can compete with you. They do have low ammo for cannons, but it doesn't really matter because you can outturn basically anyone. All Japanese planes have great turn times. This is the best bomber in the game, the G8N1. Just, it's got 3 20mm turrets, so its defenses are as good as a fighter. It will defend you very well, and it can take a lot of hits. Japanese jets are essentially just stolen from other countries, like the Sabre is American. This Sabre is not as good as the German Sabre. I will let you guys know that. But this Kai 200 is based off of the ME-163, and it's actually a little bit faster. Same armament though, same 30mm cannons. So with that, I'll tell you guys who I play. I like to play the Germans because from tier 1 to 3 they're pure destruction. Tier 4 I slow down a little bit. And then tier 5 you pick up right up again with just being the best in the game, I would say. I'd say close second place would be, I'd say either the British... Actually, British, Americans, and Russians are all pretty well balanced out. Japanese are probably the ones that you're going to have the biggest disadvantage with. They start off pretty slow, but towards the end, with the N1Ks and the E6M5s, they're bombers, they're just all great planes. I think British jets are not the best, to be honest. There's other stuff that can outperform them easily. Yeah, going as Russians, Germans, Americans, or British, any of those would be a pretty good choice. It's just that the Russians, Germans, and Americans have better jets than the British. So if you're going to stay for the long run, you might want to grind these three nations as opposed to just England. Hope you guys enjoyed this informative video, and see you guys in the